Let me
Order.
tell you
All
about the
right.
day. A luxury car dealer walked into my
Courtroom,
courtroom
please. All right.
and made the biggest mistake of his life. His name was Victor Ashford, owner of Ashford Premier Motors. This man walked in like he owned the building. Navy suit, Italian shoes, gold tie pin, expensive cologne. But expensive cologne doesn't cover the smell of arrogance. Standing across from him was Robert Chen, 58 years old, Army veteran, Purple Heart recipient. He took shrapnel in Iraq. He worked as a medical technician at a VA hospital, and Victor Ashford had sold him a lemon. I looked at the file. Robert Chen versus Ashford Premier Motors. Mr. Chen was suing for $47,000. Mr. Ashford, I said, step forward. He strolled up like he was walking a red carpet. Not nervous, not respectful, just entitled. Mr. Chen, I said softer, come up, please. Robert walked forward carefully, that limp just visible. He held his folder in both hands. His face was calm, but I could see the tension in his jaw. This man had been disrespected, and he was here to make it right. Mr. Chen, I said, you're suing Mr. Ashford and his dealership for $47,000. That's a significant amount. Tell me why. Robert cleared his throat. His voice was steady but quiet. Your Honor, he said, last September, I bought a 2021 Range Rover Sport from Ashford Premier Motors. I paid $46,500 cash. Mr. Ashford told me it was certified pre-owned, one owner, clean history, perfect condition. And, I asked, it was none of those things, Your Honor. Victor smiled and said, every used car has minor issues. That's why we have warranties. Then he rolled his eyes, actually rolled them, in MY courtroom. I looked at him. Mr. Ashford, do you have something to say? He smiled smugly. Your Honor, with all due respect, Mr. Chen is exaggerating. Every used car has minor issues. That's why we have warranties. Robert's voice got firmer. The transmission failed after 2 weeks. The vehicle had been in an accident. The VIN was altered. The odometer was rolled back from 89,000 miles to 34,000. The gallery murmured. I raised my hand. Silence. Victor Ashford laughed, a full laugh. This is absurd, he said. We run a 150-point inspection. I looked at him. Did you know about the problems? Of course not. Then why did you void his warranty? Victor's smile flickered. Because Mr. Chen modified the vehicle without authorization. He installed aftermarket parts. That voids the warranty. Robert's face went red. I put a wheelchair lift in the back. Silence. Victor shrugged. Unauthorized modification. I felt my blood pressure rise. Mr. Chen, I said, why did you install a wheelchair lift? Robert's voice cracked just a little. My wife, Your Honor, she has MS, multiple sclerosis. She uses a wheelchair part-time. I needed a vehicle that could transport her safely. Victor checked his watch. That's when I knew this wasn't just a lemon case. This was a character case. Mr. Ashford, I said, my voice ice cold. Did you know Mr. Chen's wife uses a wheelchair when you voided his warranty? Victor looked up from his watch. I don't see how that's relevant. Answer the question. I knew he mentioned something about medical equipment, yes. And you still voided the warranty. He spread his hands. Business is business, Your Honor. We have policies. Robert's hands tightened on the folder. I leaned forward. Let me get this straight, I said. You sold this man a vehicle with a forged VIN, a rolled-back odometer, and hidden frame damage. Then, when he installed a lift so his disabled wife could use the car you sold him, you voided his warranty. Victor smiled again. Your Honor, you're oversimplifying. I don't oversimplify. I clarify. Did you or did you not void his warranty because he installed a wheelchair lift? The contract is clear. Answer yes or no. His jaw tightened. Yes, but... No buts, not yet. The gallery was dead silent. Mr. Chen, I said, do you have the inspection report? Yes, ma'am. He handed a document to my bailiff, Petrie, Who brought it to me? I read it, slowly, carefully. Collision damage to front driver's side quarter panel. Frame rail bent 4.2 degrees. VIN plate restamped. Odometer discrepancy confirmed. Estimated previous mileage, 87,000 to 91,000 miles. I looked up at Victor Ashford. Mr. Ashford, do you stand by your 150-point inspection? Absolutely, he said. We're a reputable business. Then how did this get past your inspection? He didn't blink. Mistakes happen, Your Honor. We're human. Mistakes, I repeated. A forged VIN is a mistake. We rely on third-party history reports, which you didn't provide to Mr. Chen before the sale, correct? Silence. Mr. Ashford, we provide them upon request. Did Mr. Chen request one? I don't recall. Robert spoke up. I did, Your Honor, 3 times. He told me I didn't need it because the car was certified. Victor's face went tight. That's not how I remember it. I've been a judge long enough to know when someone's lying. It's in the eyes, the micro-expressions, the tone. Victor Ashford was lying. And then he said the words that sealed his fate. With all due respect, Your Honor, you wouldn't understand business decisions. You're just here to rubber stamp paperwork. The room went dead silent. Petrie's eyes went wide. The stenographer stopped typing. Robert Chen looked at Victor Ashford like he couldn't believe what he just heard. And I smiled. Not a friendly smile. Mr. Ashford, I said, my voice low and sharp, let me explain something to you. I'm not here to rubber stamp anything. I'm here to find the truth. And if you ever speak to me like that again, you'll find out exactly how much power this rubber stamp has. Do you understand me? He opened his mouth. Do you understand me? I repeated louder. Yes, he muttered. Yes, what? Yes, Your Honor. Good. Now sit down and be quiet until I ask you a question. He sat hard. The gallery was electric. I turned back to Robert. Mr. Chen, do you have any other evidence? Yes, Your Honor. He pulled out his phone. I recorded our conversations. Smart man. Play it, I said. Robert connected his phone to the courtroom's audio system. The speakers crackled. Then Victor Ashford's voice filled the room. Victor's voice on the recording said, "That's what the warranty's for, Robert." Robert's voice, "Your service center voided the warranty." Victor, "Because you modified the vehicle." Robert, "I installed a wheelchair lift for my wife." Victor laughed on the recording. "A wheelchair lift? Come on, Robert. You can't just drill holes in a $50,000 car and expect us to cover it." Robert, "It was professionally installed." Victor, "Doesn't matter. You altered the structure. That voids the warranty. It's in the contract." Robert, "You told me not to worry about the contract." Victor, "I said it was standard, and it is. You should have read it." Robert, "Can you at least help me with the repair cost?" Victor sighed on the recording. Robert, "I'm running a business, not a charity. I can offer you $2,000 in store credit toward your next purchase." Robert, "I don't want another car. I want this one fixed or my money back." Victor, "All sales are final. That's the policy." Robert, "That's not fair." Victor, "Life's not fair, buddy. Welcome to the real world." The recording ended. The courtroom was silent. I looked at Victor. His face was stone. "Mr. Ashford," I said slowly, "you told this man life's not fair after selling him a fraudulent vehicle." "I was frustrated," Victor said. "You were frustrated." "He kept calling, demanding refunds. I have other customers." "He kept calling because you sold him a lemon and refused to make it right." "I offered him store credit." "Which is worthless if your cars are fraudulent." "Mr. Chen," I said, "is there another recording?" "Yes, ma'am." He played the second one. Robert's voice, "Mr. Ashford, I had the car inspected. It was in an accident. The VIN was altered. The odometer was rolled back." Victor's voice after a pause, "Who told you that?" Robert, an independent inspector. Victor, they're wrong. Robert, they have documentation. Victor, Robert, listen to me. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Every used car has history. That's why it's used. Robert, this isn't history, this is fraud. Victor's voice turned cold. Be very careful what you accuse me of. Robert, I'm not accusing, I'm stating facts. Victor, facts, you want facts. Here's a fact, I have lawyers. Good ones, expensive ones. You take this any further and I'll bury you in legal fees. You'll spend every penny you have just to try to prove something you can't prove. Robert, are you threatening me? Victor, I'm educating you. You're a nice guy, Robert. Don't make this ugly. Take the store credit. Move on. Forget this ever happened. Robert, I can't forget. My wife can't even use the car because the lift is useless on a broken transmission. Victor, then fix it yourself. Or don't. I don't care. But stop calling me. Stop bothering my staff. And stop pretending you're some kind of victim. You signed the contract. You made the choice. Now live with it. The recording ended. The gallery erupted. Whispers, gasps. One woman said, "Oh my God." I held up my hand. Silence returned. I looked at Victor Ashford. He was staring at the floor. "Mr. Ashford," I said quietly, "did you threaten Mr. Chen with legal fees to intimidate him into dropping this?" "I was defending myself," he said, voice tight. "You were intimidating a disabled veteran. He was harassing me. He was seeking justice." Victor looked up, eyes blazing. "Justice? You want to talk about justice? This man is trying to ruin my reputation, my business. I've built Ashford Premier Motors from the ground up. I have employees, families depending on me, and he wants to destroy all of that over one car." I let him finish. Then I leaned forward. "Mr. Ashford," I said, "you didn't build your business from the ground up. You built it on lies. You built it on fraud. You built it on taking advantage of people like Mr. Chen who trusted you." "That's not true." "Then explain the VIN alteration." "I didn't do it." "But you sold it, which makes you responsible." He slammed his hand on the table. "I am not responsible for every single detail of every single car." "Yes," I said flatly. "You are, because you're the owner, because you put your name on the dealership, because you personally sold this car to Mr. Chen. You don't get to take credit when things go well and hide when things go wrong." He was breathing like a bull. I continued. "You threatened this man with lawyers. You called him a harasser. You told him to live with it. And now you're standing in my courtroom acting like you're the victim." I'm not finished." He closed his mouth. "Mr. Ashford, let me be very clear. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how many followers you have on Instagram. I don't care how many celebrities buy cars from you. In this room, you're just another defendant. And right now, you're losing." His face went white. I looked at Robert. "Mr. Chen, is there anything else?" "Just one more thing, Your Honor." He pulled out a folder. "I filed a complaint with the New York DMV. They investigated Mr. Ashford's dealership." My eyebrows went up. "And?" "They found 14 other vehicles with similar issues, altered VINs, rolled back odometers, hidden accident histories." The gallery exploded. I banged my gavel. "Order." Silence. I looked at Victor. His face was gray. "Mr. Ashford," I said, "did the DMV investigate your dealership?" He didn't answer. "Mr. Ashford." "Yes," he whispered. "And did they find 14 other fraudulent vehicles?" "The investigation is ongoing." "That's not a denial." He said nothing. I sat back. This wasn't just a civil case anymore. This was a pattern. I looked at Victor Ashford for a long moment. Then I spoke. "Mr. Ashford, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen very carefully." He looked up. "You came into my courtroom today thinking you'd win. You thought your expensive suit, your fancy watch, your celebrity connections would intimidate me. You thought Mr. Chen would back down because he's just a working man and you're a successful businessman. I leaned forward. You were wrong. He swallowed. You sold Mr. Chen a fraudulent vehicle. You voided his warranty over a wheelchair lift installed for his disabled wife. You refused to refund his money. You threatened him with legal fees. And you had the audacity to tell him to live with it. My voice got harder. But here's what you're going to live with, Mr. Ashford. You're going to live with the consequences of your actions. I looked at my clerk. Judgment for the plaintiff. Robert's eyes went wide. Mr. Ashford, you will pay Mr. Chen the following: $46,500 for the purchase price of the vehicle, $4,200 for the transmission repair, $2,100 for the wheelchair lift installation, $1,800 for the independent inspection, $500 for towing fees, and $10,000 in punitive damages. Victor shot to his feet. $10,000 in punitive damages? That's outrageous. Sit down. He didn't. I said sit down. Petrie stepped forward. Victor sat. Punitive damages, I said slowly, are designed to punish and deter. You need to be punished, Mr. Ashford, and other dealers need to be deterred from doing what you did. This is insane. No, what's insane is that you thought you'd get away with it. I continued. Total judgment, $65,100, payable to Mr. Chen within 30 days. I'll appeal, Victor shouted. Go ahead, waste more money on lawyers, but the judgment stands. He was shaking with rage. Furthermore, I said, I'm referring this case to the New York Attorney General's Office for Criminal Investigation. VIN alteration is a felony, Mr. Ashford. So is odometer fraud. His face went white. You can't. I can, and I just did. I looked at Robert. Mr. Chen, you came here seeking justice. You got it. This court finds in your favor on all counts. Robert's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Your Honor. I nodded. Then I looked back at Victor. Mr. Ashford, let me leave you with this. You told Mr. Chen that life's not fair. You were right. Life isn't fair, but the law is, and today the law caught up with you. He said nothing. You're dismissed. He stood, grabbed his briefcase, and walked toward the exit. Then he stopped. He turned around. And he made the biggest mistake of his life. You know what? He said, voice dripping with venom. You're just a bitter old woman on a power trip. You don't understand business. You don't understand success. You sit up there in your robe and judge people, but what have you ever built? Nothing. You're nothing. The courtroom went dead silent. Petrie's hand moved toward his belt. I held up my hand, slowly. Then I smiled. Mr. Ashford, I said, voice calm, thank you. He blinked. What? Thank you for showing everyone in this room exactly who you are. I nodded to Petrie. Bailiff, hold Mr. Ashford in contempt of court. Victor's eyes went wide. What? You just called a sitting judge a bitter old woman and said she's nothing. That's contempt. I have freedom of speech. Not in my courtroom, you don't. Petrie moved toward him. 7 days in jail, Mr. Ashford. Maybe that'll teach you some respect. You can't do this. I just did. Petrie took his arm. Victor jerked away. Get your hands off me. Don't make this worse, Petrie said calmly. Victor looked around the courtroom like someone would help him. No one moved. Then he looked at me, and I saw it, the moment he realized he'd lost everything. Please, he said quietly, I'm sorry. You're not sorry, I said. You're just sorry you got caught. Petrie led him toward the door. As they reached it, Victor turned one last time. This isn't over, he said. I looked him in the eye. Yes, I said, it is. The door closed behind him. The courtroom stayed silent for a moment. Then someone in the gallery started clapping. Then another. Then everyone. Robert Chen stood there, tears streaming down his face, clutching his folder. I banged my gavel. "Order," I said gently. The clapping stopped. I looked at Robert. "Mr. Chen," I said, "you served your country with honor. You work hard every day. You take care of your wife. And you stood up for yourself when someone tried to cheat you. That takes courage." He wiped his eyes. "Thank you, Your Honor." I nodded. "We're adjourned." I stood. The bailiff called out, "All rise."
Order. All
Everyone stood.
rise.
I walked to my chambers.
Quiet in the courtroom, please.
And
All
as I
right.
closed the door, I thought about Victor Ashford sitting in a cell for 7 days, thinking about what he'd lost. His money, his reputation, his freedom, all because he thought he was above the law. He wasn't. Nobody is. Not in my courtroom.